Hello, everyone. So today I want to do a nonfiction to be read book tour. I have been moving my books around for the last week, trying to really see what I have, which subjects I'm interested in, and just maybe move some of the books I'm not really interested in into storage. So I wanted to show you the main categories of books on my TBR list at this time are health related, and biology related. And then I have physics related and then history. And I've kind of moved the rest of the books out into storage so that I can just really focus on these books because these seem to be what I've been buying a lot of recently and what I've been gravitating towards. So I'm going to start here. I have the entire Michael Greger series. I think that's how you say his name. He wrote How Not to Die, How Not to Age, and How Not to Diet, How Not to Age, and How Not to Die. So I did start reading one of them. I forget which one, but I do want to get back into that. Hopefully I enjoy them. They are very cute. I have the telomere effect, which isn't the best rated book, but I still held on to it, hoping it'll be some value to me. And I've also been getting books on aging and longevity, which is something that I'm currently doing. I'm aging, and I do want to live longer. So I'm hoping by reading these books, I can continue aging successfully. So I have The Science and Technology of Growing Young and Lifespan. I also have An Elegant Defense, The Extraordinary Science of the Immune System, 10% Human, which is about microbes, Body by Darwin, which is looks like it's about health and evolution, Drop Acid, which looks like it's about uric acid. I don't know too much about this subject, so I'm excited to jump into this one. I have Hidden Potential by Adam Grant, which I did read last year, and I really enjoyed that, so I'm looking forward to rereading that. Good Calories, Bad Calories. I've unhauled most of my Gary Tubbs books. I don't think that's how you say his name. Anyway, so but this one's a bit of a textbook, so I did want to hold on to that because I am interested in calories, even though I have lost a lot of weight recently, so I have been doing good. And then this one is about genetics. This is a Sam Keen book. Genetics. Darwin. This is like a graphic novel. The Blind Watchmaker by Richard Dawkins. I recently got rid of the actual Origin of Species, but I do want to jump into that subject. And once I've read these books, such as The Selfish Gene, The Genome Odyssey, Endless Forms, Most Beautiful, Red Queen, more about genetics, then I can go back and maybe actually read some of the source material. But I think without some background and learning on this subject, it's not that fun for me. Then I have this book, Behave, which I got last year and I still haven't started, which I don't know. I think I'm going to really enjoy this book. It looks really interesting. The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst. This was recommended to me by an employee at Barnes & Nobles, and we had a long talk, so I grabbed it. And then, of course, this book is super famous, The Body Keeps a Score. I haven't grabbed it yet. The Ice Pick Surgeon. This looks like fun adventures in science and human body, maybe crimes. This is a Barbara Kinsover book about food, and a Michael Pollan book about food, The Defense of Food, and Eater's Manifesto. I read about half of this, and then I kind of put it down, and I do want to go back and read it again. This is a new Michael Pollan book about psychedelics, which is very interesting. I really don't know anything about that yet, so I'm interested to read this book. And then Why We Sleep. I tried reading this book years ago, and it was very boring to me, but everyone keeps saying it's amazing and totally worth it, so I've kept it, and I'll read it at some point. And then The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober. I am sober, so this will be a fun one to read, I think, because it's very, very well reviewed. And then here I have these are mostly books on singing and voice training, and then just songs to sing. So that's why I stuck them there, because they're big and I needed a tall shelf. I have two graphic novels by, I cannot say this author's name, which I haven't started yet. The Puzzler, I don't know why I stuck this here, I guess because it's brain-related books. I did read this one when I got this Uncorrected Proof. I'd like to get a finished copy of this book. and reread it again because it was very interesting. And then I have a bunch of books on the brain. I have The Mind, Consciousness, Predictions, and The Brain, Big Bangs, Behaviors and Beliefs, Enriching the Brain. This book I've had forever, and I have not made any progress on it. So this one's a priority for me. And then this is an Oliver Sacks book on music and the brain. And then John Medina, Brain Rules. I have not read this. I did read this last year. I want to reread it because it was very interesting. When I was pregnant with my first child, I actually read his Brain Rules for Babies, and I thought that book was fantastic. So I like what he writes about. And then I've had this book forever, The Future of the Mind. This is a bit complicated. This is a Michio Kaku book. Neurosurgery, another Sam Keane book. I've only read just one book by Sam Keane, and I really liked it. It was The Disappearing Spoon, so I do want to read more by him. I ended up getting like everything by him after I finished it. Another Oliver Sacks, An Anthropologist on Mars, The Language of Life, more books on medicine and DNA, The Social Conquest of the Earth by Edward O. Wilson is a new edition, and then The Meaning of Human Existence, which is the book I read last year by him, and I do need to read it again because I really struggled with it. And then I have two books by this author here, The Gene and then The Song of the Cell. I got into The Gene, but I kind of put it back. I think I got overwhelmed by other books I was reading, and I just wasn't giving this one the priority I wanted to. So that one's back on the shelf. And then Elemental, I did read this one last year, and I really had a hard time with it. And I do love this author, Tim James. I have all his books, and I do want to read it again. So this is kind of the chemistry section. Napoleon's Buttons I haven't picked up yet. Taste for Poison is a new edition. Transformer, Deep Chemistry of Life and Death. This one I read, What is Chemistry? And I love this book. This book was great. It's short and simple and explains chemistry really well. And then, of course, The Disappearing Spoon I absolutely loved and looking forward to reading again. I have a book about animal senses, which I haven't picked up yet, but I'm looking forward to. A book about trees, which is fairly new. Botany, plants, dinosaurs, very short history. I actually have not read any little short histories yet, but I'm accumulating a bunch of them now because they're just so cute. And then A Natural History of the Future. This book is An Intimate History of the Earth. And then this is the newest. I just bought this one a few weeks ago, How Our Planet Came to Life. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Okay, I'm going to go up here now. And then here are a bunch of science physics books that I've read already and I want to reread. And then I'm going to look up here as well. These are books on climate change, which I haven't yet read. Books on AI, books on technology, The Drunkard's Walk, which is time to reread. I'm not really sure what it's about, even though I did read it. I think it's more math related. And then just some other books that I just stuck up here. And then this physics book by Tyson, Strauss, and Gott, Neil deGrasse Tyson, that is, that I've had forever, and I just have not been able to finish it. So I stuck a few there. And then, so these are my unread physics books. So here I have read physics books that I want to reread, and then unread physics books, and they're all out of order because I just put them here. There's so many of them, and I really need to make them a priority because I love reading books on science, and they make me so happy. They're just such an investment, and I really just need to dive into them and just put everything else aside. So, but I haven't been reading these books as much as I want to, and that's why I put them here, make them a priority. And then I organized my history section. Here I have books on Russia. I have some Robert Massey books, Orlando Figes, books on Gorbachev by William Tubman, Khrushchev, Soviet baby boomers, which sounded so interesting. Black Earth. I'm reading Timothy Schneider's most recent book that just came out on freedom. Just came out last month, and I'm really enjoying it. I have some Rachel Maddows and a Camo book on politics. So I kind of put those there because I ran out of room. But these are mostly books on the Russian Revolution and current problems in Russia and Putin. Trying to get myself more familiar with what's going on. The Dead Hand I already read, but I want to reread. Charlie Wilson's War, which I've had forever, and I have not picked it up yet. And then some books on politics that I think are kind of related to democracy and Western issues. And then here I have my books on China, Age of Ambition, China in 10 Words. I read this one years ago and I loved it, so it's time to reread that. The Chinese in America, a book about Mao, Beautiful Country in the Middle Kingdom and the 100-Year Marathon, and The City of Heavenly Tranquility. And then I also got this new book called Orientalism, which came really highly recommended by someone doing a degree, I think, in Chinese politics or history. Then I got some books on North Korea. I really enjoy books on North Korea. They're very interesting. So I have The Great Leader and the Fire Pilot, Without You, There Is No Us, and In Order to Live. So I'm looking forward to reading those. This is a Orlando Fiji's book on Europeans. And then I have these 4 books are all in Ukraine: The Gates of Europe, Borderland, Russo-Ukrainian War, and Red Famine. Bright Shining Light, that's on Vietnam. And then this one I just got from the publisher Beirut. Clausewitz, which I think is about war. Murder in Amsterdam, which is about Europe and Islam. Palestine, the Pentagon. I think these are more war-related books. Sleepwalkers, which is about how Europe went to war. The Zimmerman Telegraph, this is what World War I. And then World War II, The Dead Wake, Splendid and the Vile, Unbroken, Franklin and Winston, and The Devil in the White City, which I still haven't read. And then here I have more American history-related books, A History of the United States, These Truths, which I'm looking forward to reading. Don't know much about history, Founding Brothers, which I did read, and this book was very difficult, so I do want to read it again. This is by Joseph Ellis. This was a very difficult to read book. And then another book by Joseph Ellis, American Dialogue, and I also have His Excellency George Washington. I haven't really been into American history recently. I got really into American history a couple of years ago, and I read a bunch of books, but I guess right now my priority is, what am I reading? I guess more about what's going on right now in Europe, and totalitarianism. So that's what my priority has been recently. I have Ben Franklin's book, which I did read a couple years ago and I didn't really like very much, but I want to read it again because it is a Walter Isaacson. I have John Adams, which I loved. This book was so well done. So I'm looking forward to that again. Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln. I did read David Herbert Donald's book on Lincoln years ago, and it was wonderful. So I'm looking forward to Team of Rivals. This is all about Theodore Roosevelt and Howard Taft. Another book about Roosevelt. Lyndon Johnson, who I find very interesting. And then this book I got from the publisher, but I haven't read it yet. This is about Nixon. Oops, I can't get them back in. Richard Nixon books. And then this book is all about liberalism, and then these are all about Obama. And I did read The Promise a long time ago, and I really liked it. So I got the sequel, which is The Center Holds, and then I got the newest edition was this biography a biography on Barack Obama by David Marinis. And then finally here, these are kind of random because I ran out of categories. I think it's more world history. Got some graphic novels. I'd like to find more of these cartoon histories of the universe or cartoon histories of the modern world. This is part 2. And this is part 1, I think. But they're on different subjects. I got The Silk Road, A Little History of the World. This is a really cute book. I read this one years ago. And I read a lot of it to my son when I was homeschooling because I think it is geared towards children, but it's also a really good book to read for an adult because it's really well done. Prequel by Rachel Maddow. It's about fascism. I did start reading this and I read quite a bit of it, but it was hard to get into, so I didn't do very well. Then I have some Chomsky books, which I have not got into yet. Tony Judd, Reappraisals. His Truth is Marching On. This is all about civil rights, and John Lewis. And I did read this book when I got it. I got this one from the publisher years ago. It's actually, this is the first book I got from Goodreads when I started showing an interest in books. So when I started asking for books, this is the first one I got, and it's special to me. Even though I didn't love it, I wish it was. I felt like it was too short and disjointed. I didn't think it was such a great book, but I do want to read it again. And I have The Race Beat, How to Be an Anti-Racist, How to Argue with a Racist, The Color of Law, White Robes and Broken Badges, which I just got a few weeks ago. Actually, last week. I got it last week. And then two books on Lewis. I read the first one and I absolutely loved it. So I'm looking forward to reading 2 and 3. I just haven't got around to it. A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. To Make Men Free by Heather Cox Richardson. I did read a bunch of her other books and I haven't read this one yet. That's about the Republican Party. The Red and the Blue, Democracy for Realists, and American Sketches, another book by Walter Isaacson, which I did read last year, and it's time for me to reread it. And then I have Lies My Teacher Told Me, which I did read and want to reread, and then The American Crisis, which I think is just a collection of essays. And then some books about Donald Trump. I have The Midnight in Washington and Nightmare Scenario, a book by Ben Rhodes, who was Barack Obama's speechwriter. And this 21 Lessons for the 21st Century I did read already and I want to reread. Origin Story, which I think might be more science-based. I wasn't sure where to put it. This is Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, which I already read but didn't love, so I want to reread it. And then Collapse, Guns, Germs, and Steel, and The World is Flat. And I'm not sure about The World is Flat. That might be a little problematic. I've been seeing some really weird reviews about on Thomas Friedman's books, so but I do want to give that one a shot. I did end up getting rid of his other book. Was it The Lexus and his other book on globalization? Anyway, so that is my current nonfiction TBR. Hopefully I can kind of ignite my love for these subjects again and get through some of these books in the next couple months and next year. Thank you for watching.